Hello everyone, good afternoon and a very warm welcome to St Peter Mancroft Church, which is at the moment absolutely packed full of fabulous Christmas trees because it's our Christmas tree festival. And it's also, there's quite a few people around looking at Christmas trees. Do feel free to continue doing that, that'd be lovely. The Christmas Tree Festival is actually on until the 6th of December, so if you're watching online, you might want to come along sometime during the next week or so. And there's also this coming Sunday evening at 5 p.m. a Christmas Tree Festival carol service to which everyone will also be very warmly welcome. But I'm not here to talk about Christmas trees. I'm here to deliver our usual Wednesday lunchtime reflection, which today has got the rather weird title of Two Lake Islands. I better explain. For me, there's something deeply evocative about the idea of a lake island. It's not an island out at sea, which can be very large, of course, but it's a little island in the centre of a lake. And I expect if you look in your mind's eye, you might find that you have a picture of what the perfect lake island might look like. It's a small wooded mound, perhaps, close by the shore, but just full of mystery. And today I'd like to reflect on two lake islands in particular from English literature. One of them is intended for children, the other is rather more adult, but both of them are places of escape. And yes, you may have suspected this, I'm starting with Swallows and Amazons. The lake island in that book, called Wildcat Island, is a sort of mash-up of islands that the author, Arthur Ransome, actually knew in Lake Windermere and Coniston Water in the Lake District. And part of the magic of the book is that Wildcat Island becomes, for a little group of children, 6 girls and boys from 2 different families, it becomes for them a kind of real-life adventure playground, as they spend the long, hot days of their summer holiday not feeling really bored hanging around at home with their mothers and nannies, it's that kind of book, but boating on the lake and camping out together for many nights on end. Health and safety, child protection, how many children aged between 7 and 12 would be allowed to do that relatively unsupervised nowadays? And unsupervised, the children learn so much together. They explore and exploit the shape of their little island. They become more and more expert in handling their boats. They put up tents in the woods and they cook on campfires. In fact, they organise themselves most fantastically into a disciplined little community, something which many adults find challenging. I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. Wildcat Island becomes the perfect childhood home for them. It's complete with corned beef sandwiches and cakes from a local farm and lashings of ginger beer. And thus it becomes a place from which they can confidently venture out on adventures, triggered by their imaginations. Are there pirates out there? Is that man on that houseboat over there our enemy? And yes, eventually there are real robbers, very exciting, whom the children manage to thwart. No wonder that children, through the generations now, the book was published in 1930, no wonder that children so love this book. I'm sure it's partly because it really doesn't patronise kids, but it shows children how, once they escape from adult supervision, they can discover their own courage and their ingenuity and their independence. For one perfect summer of childhood, Wildcat Island is a place teeming with life and with opportunity, a perfect little microcosm of what we might hope the adult world to be or to become. And in some ways, it's rather similar to another lake island in my second piece of literature, the lake island of Innisfree, in the poem by the great Irish writer W.B. Yeats. This island, too, is uninhabited, it's wooded, and it's totally idyllic, but in a completely different way. Because Innisfree is a place of retreat for an adult, a man who longs to be there utterly alone. It's a very different kind of escape. The lake island of Innisfree does also really exist. It's in Loch Gill in Ireland, and Yeats used to spend his summer holidays nearby. But as a young man, he had a sudden memory of this island whilst he was walking down Fleet Street in central London, and that made him incredibly homesick. And this poem of longing is the wonderful result. I'll read it for you. The lake island of Innisfree. I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin build there, of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honey bee, and live alone in the bee-loud glade. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings. There, midnight's all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening full of linnets' wings. I will arise and go now, for always, night and day, I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore. While I stand on the roadway or on the pavement's grey, I hear it in the deep heart's core. So Yeats too imagines making his home on an island. And with Yeats too, there is skill and there's discipline in his living. That little hand-built cabin he's made, those very neat rows of beans. And there is unutterable beauty, not described in detail in the poem, but we get just little glimpses of the loveliness of it all at different times of the day and night. And I'm so very glad that that word heart comes in the last line of the poem, because for me, lake islands do somehow pluck at my heartstrings. I read Swallows and Amazons with my partner while he was terminally ill, and it gave both of us very precious moments of real happiness together, remembering together just how golden and how exciting the adventures of childhood can be. And that Yeats poem, a little gem to be revisited again and again when the stresses of urban or of suburban life are really getting you down. Both these pieces of literature talk about escape to idyllic lake islands. And to be honest, reading them is also a kind of escape. But hey, we all need a little escapism in these peculiar times. And what fine, wholesome, lovely escapism Arthur Ransome and W.B. Yeats have given us. And I thank God for that. Thank you for joining me today.